Captain Jake Morrison stood in the center of the great hall. The floor beneath his feet was made of some kind of crystal that glowed with soft blue light. Above him, 12 massive screens showed the faces of alien beings. Each one looked different. Some had scales, others had tentacles, and one looked like it was made of pure energy. Jake felt small in this place. The Galactic Council chamber was huge. It could fit a whole city inside it. But Jake kept his back straight and his chin up. He was here to speak for all of humanity. "Captain Morrison," said a voice that sounded like grinding rocks. It came from one of the screens. The creature speaking had yellow eyes and green scales. "You have heard the charges against your species. What do you say?" Jake looked up at the alien. This was Counselor Zethkai, the one who had been talking against humans for weeks. "I say the charges are wrong," Jake replied. His voice echoed in the huge chamber. Another voice spoke. This one sounded like wind chimes. It came from the energy being on the largest screen. "Captain, your species has been in our galaxy for only 50 years. In that time, you have started 3 wars, taken over 12 star systems, and refused to follow our laws. How is this wrong?" Jake felt anger rise in his chest, but he pushed it down. Getting angry would not help humans now. "Counselor Veltar," he said, looking at the energy being, "we started those wars to protect ourselves. The Krillin Empire attacked our colonies first. We only fought back." "You fought back by destroying their entire fleet," said another alien. This one had 6 arms and purple skin. "You could have stopped after winning. Instead, you took their planets." "We took empty planets," Jake said. "The Krillins had already left them. We just made sure they could not use those worlds to attack us again." A new voice joined in. It sounded like singing. "What about the Nexus trade wars? You humans broke the trade agreements." Jake turned to face that screen. The alien there looked like a giant flower with eyes. "The Nexus Corporation was cheating us. They sold us broken ships and bad food. When we complained, they raised their prices. We had to find other traders." "You destroyed 3 of their trading stations," the flower alien said. "We did not destroy them," Jake replied. "We took them over after they attacked our merchant ships. There is a difference." Counselor Zethkai's scales seemed to get darker. "You see, this is exactly what we mean. Humans always have excuses. You always think you are right. You never follow the rules." Jake looked around at all the screens. Each alien face stared down at him. Some looked angry, others looked scared, a few looked sad. "May I ask a question?" Jake said. The energy being Veltar flickered. "Speak. How many of your species have grown as fast as humans have?" There was silence for a moment. Then Zethkai spoke. "That is not the point." "I think it is the point," Jake said. "You have been in space for thousands of years. We have been here for 50. In that time, we went from 1 planet to 50 colonies. We learned your languages. We built ships that can travel between stars. We did all of this while trying to follow your rules." "Rules you constantly broke," said the 6-armed alien. "Rules we did not understand at first," Jake replied. "Rules that were made for species that think differently than we do. You want us to ask permission before we defend ourselves. You want us to wait for committee meetings before we help people in danger. That is not how humans work." A new alien spoke. This one looked like a giant insect. "How do humans work, Captain?" Jake thought for a moment. This was important. What he said next might save his species or doom them. "We work by doing what we think is right," he said. "When we see someone in trouble, we help them. When someone attacks us, we fight back. When we make a promise, we keep it. We do not always wait for permission. We do not always follow the slow path. But we try to do good." "Your way of doing good has caused problems," said the flower alien. "Yes," Jake admitted. "We make mistakes. We learn from them. But we never stop trying to be better." Counselor Veltar's light grew brighter. "The Council has made its decision, Captain Morrison. We have talked about this for many weeks. We have looked at all the facts. We have listened to your words." Jake felt his heart start to beat faster. "Humans are too dangerous to remain in galactic society," Veltar continued. "You grow too fast. You fight too much. You do not respect our ways. Therefore, the Galactic Council votes to banish humanity to your home system." The words hit Jake like a punch to the stomach. "You cannot do this," he said. "We can and we will," said Zethkai. "A barrier will be placed around your solar system. You will not be able to leave. No one will be able to enter. You will be alone until you learn to be civilized." "For how long?" Jake asked. "Forever, if necessary," Veltar replied. Jake felt the floor start to shake. Through the great windows of the chamber he could see ships moving. Huge alien vessels were surrounding his small human ship. "Captain Morrison," said Veltar, "you will be returned to Earth immediately. Tell your people what has happened here. Tell them why." The crystal floor beneath Jake's feet began to glow brighter. He felt a strange, tingling sensation. "Wait," he called out. "This is not justice. This is fear. You are afraid of what humans might become." "Perhaps we are," admitted the insect-like alien. "But fear can be wise." The tingling sensation grew stronger. Jake realized they were teleporting him back to his ship. "You will regret this," he said as his body began to fade. "Humans do not give up. We do not stay down. And we never forget." The last thing he saw was Counselor Zethkai's yellow eyes. They looked almost sad. Then Jake was back on his ship, alone in the captain's chair. Through the view screen, he could see the massive council station growing smaller as his ship was pushed away by some invisible force. In the distance, a wall of energy was forming around Earth's solar system. It looked like a giant soap bubble, but Jake knew it was stronger than any metal. His people were trapped, cut off from the galaxy, alone. But as Jake watched the barrier form, he smiled grimly. The council thought they knew humans. They thought isolation would break them. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 6 months had passed since the barrier went up. President Amy Clark stood at the window of her office in New Geneva, looking up at the night sky. The stars looked the same as always, but she knew the truth. Humanity was trapped in a cage they could not see. "Madam President," came a voice behind her. Amy turned to see General Tom Bradley walking into the room. His face looked tired. The last 6 months had been hard on everyone. "Any news from the outer colonies?" Amy asked. Tom shook his head. "The same as yesterday. The barrier extends past Pluto. Our ships can get close, but when they try to cross it, they just bounce back. It is like hitting a wall made of nothing." Amy sat down at her desk. Reports covered every inch of it. Food production numbers, military readiness reports, and research updates. "What about the alien technology?" "All dead," Tom said. "Every piece of alien tech on Earth stopped working the moment the barrier went up. Our computers that used their parts, our communication systems, even the medical equipment in the hospitals, it all just turned off." Amy rubbed her temples. She had a headache that never seemed to go away. "How many people have we lost?" "The final count is 43,000, Tom said quietly. "Most of them were in space when the barrier activated. Their life support systems used alien components. They had about 6 hours of backup power." Amy closed her eyes. 43,000 people. Men, women, and children who died because the Council decided humanity was too dangerous. And the colonies? Cut off completely. We cannot reach Mars, Europa, or any of the outer settlements. They are on their own now. A knock came at the door. "Come in," Amy called. Dr. Ben Phillips entered the room. He looked excited, which was unusual these days. Ben was the head of the Breakthrough Project, humanity's attempt to understand and overcome the barrier. "Madam President, General Bradley," Ben said, nodding to each of them. "I have news." "Good news, I hope," Amy said. Ben smiled. "The best news we have had in months. We figured out what the barrier is made of." Tom leaned forward. "What is it?" "Energy," Ben said. "But not just any energy. It is a quantum field that vibrates at a specific frequency. Think of it like a radio station. The barrier only blocks things that are not tuned to the right channel." Amy frowned. "Can we tune to that channel?" "That is the problem," Ben admitted. "The frequency changes constantly. It is like the Council is always changing the radio station. But we have learned something else, something important. What? Tom asked. Ben pulled out a small device. It looked like a tablet computer, but it was clearly human-made, no alien components at all. We have been building new technology, completely human technology, and we discovered something the Council probably does not know. Amy stood up. What did you discover? Human brains work differently than alien brains, Ben said. We think in patterns they do not understand. Our intuition, our ability to make wild guesses, our tendency to try crazy things. It is all because our minds work in a unique way. Tom crossed his arms. How does that help us? Because we can predict the frequency changes, Ben said, his excitement growing. Not with computers or math, but with intuition. We have a team of people who just stare at the barrier readings and guess what comes next, and they are right 70% of the time. Amy felt hope for the first time in months. Are you saying we can get through? Not yet, Ben said, but we are learning, and there is more. Come with me. I want to show you something. Amy and Tom followed Ben out of the building and into a transport vehicle. They drove for 20 minutes to a facility outside the city. Amy had never seen this place before. What is this? She asked as they got out of the vehicle. This is where Kate Williams works, Ben said. She used to be just an engineer. Now she might be the most important person on Earth. They walked inside the building. It was full of strange machines and half-built devices. People in work clothes were welding, testing, and building things Amy did not recognize. Kate! Ben called out. A woman with short brown hair and oil-stained hands looked up from a workbench. Dr. Phillips, perfect timing. I just finished the prototype. Kate Williams looked like she had not slept in days, but her eyes were bright with excitement. She led them to a table where a strange device sat. It looked like a cross between a radio and a spaceship engine. What is it? Amy asked. A quantum tunnel communicator, Kate said proudly. It can send messages through the barrier. Tom stared at the device. Are you serious? Completely serious, Kate replied. Watch this. She typed something into a computer connected to the device. Then she pressed a button. The device hummed for a moment. Then a voice came from speakers nearby. This is Commander Rick Turner on Mars Colony. Is anyone receiving this message? Amy gasped. Tom's mouth fell open. Kate grinned. Commander Turner, this is Kate Williams on Earth. We are receiving you loud and clear. Kate, thank God. Rick's voice was full of relief. We have been cut off for 6 months. How is Earth? How is everyone? We are alive, Kate said, and we are fighting back. For the next hour, Amy listened as Kate and Ben explained everything they had learned. The barrier was not perfect. It had weaknesses. During solar storms, the quantum field became unstable. Ships might be able to slip through for short periods. More importantly, humans were adapting. Without alien technology to rely on, they were building their own, and human technology worked differently. It was messier, less efficient, but also more flexible, more unpredictable. The aliens made one big mistake, Kate said as they prepared to leave. They thought cutting us off from their technology would make us weaker. Instead, it made us more creative. Amy smiled for the first time in months. How long before we can break through? I do not know, Ben admitted. Months, maybe years. But we will do it, and when we do, the Council is going to be very surprised. Tom had been quiet for most of the visit. Now he spoke up. There is something else we need to consider. I have been getting reports from our intelligence networks, reports about Council communications that we intercepted before the barrier went up. Amy felt her smile fade. What kind of reports? The Council is not planning to keep us trapped forever, Tom said grimly. They are planning to study us, watch how we react to isolation, learn about human technology and tactics, and then... Then what? Kate asked. Then they are going to sterilize the solar system, Tom finished. They want to make sure humanity never becomes a threat to anyone. The room went silent. Amy felt cold despite the warm air. How long do we have? She asked. According to the intercepts, they plan to wait 5 years, Tom said. They want to gather as much information as possible first. Ben looked determined. Then we have 5 years to break out of this cage. No, Amy said firmly. We have 5 years to break out and show the Council that they made the biggest mistake in galactic history. Kate nodded. They wanted to keep humanity isolated until we learned to be civilized. Instead, they gave us time to become something they never expected. What is that? Tom asked. Amy looked around at the machines, the prototypes, and the determined faces of the humans working to free their species. They gave us time to become dangerous. Outside, the barrier hummed invisibly around the solar system, but inside that barrier, humanity was no longer the same species that had been banished 6 months ago. They were becoming something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. And in just under 5 years, the Council was going to find out exactly what happens when you back humans into a corner. 18 months after the barrier went up, Dr. Ben Phillips stood in the Luna Base Research Facility staring at a screen that should not exist. The numbers on it were impossible, yet there they were, glowing green against the black background. Kate, are you seeing this? Ben called across the laboratory. Kate Williams floated over in the low gravity of the moon. She had been promoted to Chief Technology Officer after her breakthrough with the quantum communicator. Now she spent most of her time on Luna Base, where the barrier was easier to study. Which part? Kate asked, looking at the screen. The part where our message reached Alpha Centauri in 30 seconds, or the part where we got a reply? Ben laughed, but it sounded nervous. Both. This should not be possible. The barrier blocks everything. How did our signal get through? Kate pointed to another screen showing solar activity. Look at the timestamp. Our transmission went out exactly when that solar flare hit the barrier. The quantum field became unstable for exactly 47 seconds. And during those 47 seconds, we had a window, Ben said, understanding. Not just a window, Kate corrected. A door. And I think we can make it bigger. Commander Sam Davis floated into the lab. He was in charge of the Outer System Exploration Fleet, the ships that tested the barrier's limits every day. Dr. Phillips, Ms. Williams, you need to see this. Sam led them to the observation deck. Through the massive windows, they could see Earth in the distance, beautiful and blue. But Sam was not pointing at Earth. He was pointing at something else. There, Sam said. Do you see it? Ben squinted. There was something near the barrier, about halfway between Earth and Mars. It looked like a ship, but it was moving in a strange way. What is that? Kate asked. That is the test ship Aurora, Sam said. Commander Lisa Stone volunteered to pilot it during the last solar flare. She managed to phase through the barrier for 12 seconds before getting pulled back. Ben felt his heart racing. She went through? She actually crossed the barrier? For 12 seconds, Sam confirmed. She took readings on the other side, but that is not the best part. What is the best part? Kate asked. Sam smiled. She left something behind, a small probe. It is still out there, sending us data from outside the solar system. Ben and Kate looked at each other. This changed everything. What kind of data? Ben asked. Sam handed him a tablet. Council ship movements, communication intercepts, and something else, something we did not expect. Ben read the data on the tablet. His eyes got wider with each line. They are not just watching us, he said quietly. They are studying us. Every ship movement, every communication, every test we run, they are recording all of it. Kate read over his shoulder. Why would they do that? Ben felt cold despite the warm air in the station. Because they are learning. They want to understand how we think, how we fight, how we build things. They are preparing for something. A new voice joined the conversation. They are preparing to kill us all. They turned to see Dr. Ellen Gray, the station's specialist in quantum mechanics. She had been quiet for weeks, working on something she would not talk about. Ellen, Ben said. What do you mean? Ellen pulled out her own tablet. I have been analyzing the barrier's quantum signature. It is not just a prison. It is a laboratory. They are using it to study human technology and behavior. Every time we test something new, they learn from it. Kate frowned. How do you know this? Because the barrier changes after each test, Ellen explained. When we figured out the quantum communicator, the barrier adapted to block similar devices. When Lisa phased through, the barrier got stronger in that specific area. They are using our own creativity against us. Sam looked grim. So every time we try to escape, we make it harder for ourselves? Yes, Ellen said, but I found something else, something they probably do not know we discovered. Ben leaned forward. What? Ellen smiled for the first time in weeks. The barrier has a memory. It stores information about everything that touches it, including council ships. What does that mean? Kate asked. It means I can access their communication logs, Ellen said. Not just the ones our probe intercepted, all of them. Every message sent near the barrier for the last 18 months. Ben felt excitement and fear at the same time. What did you find? Ellen's smile faded. Project Cleansing, that is what they call it. They plan to study us for 5 years total. Then they will remove the barrier and sterilize the entire solar system. They want to make sure no trace of human technology or culture survives. The room went silent. Outside the window, Earth continued to spin peacefully, unaware that its entire species had been marked for extinction. There is more, Ellen continued. They are not just afraid of our military power. They are afraid of our ideas. They think human creativity is a virus that could spread to other species. They believe that if other aliens learn to think like humans, it will destroy their perfect galactic order. Kate laughed, but it was not a happy sound. So they are going to commit genocide because they are afraid of creativity? Yes, Ellen said simply. Ben looked around at his colleagues. These were some of the smartest humans alive, and they all looked scared. But under the fear, he saw something else. Anger. Determination. How long do we have? He asked. 3.5 years, Ellen replied. But there is something else. Something that might help us. What? Sam asked. Ellen pointed at her tablet. The Council is not united on this decision. 3 species voted against Project Cleansing. They think it is wrong to destroy an entire civilization just because it is different. Ben felt a spark of hope. Which species? The Altarians, the Vegan Collective, and the Crystal Mines, Ellen said. They have been arguing with the others for months. If we could contact them, we could have allies, Kate finished. Sam shook his head. But how do we contact them? Even our quantum communicator only works during solar flares, and those only last for seconds. Ellen's smile returned. That is what I have been working on, a way to create our own quantum instabilities. Artificial solar flares, if you will. Ben stared at her. Is that possible? I think so, Ellen said. But it will require more power than anything humans have ever built. We would need to use the sun itself as a generator. Kate whistled softly. That sounds incredibly dangerous. Everything we do from now on will be dangerous, Ben said. The question is, are we going to sit here and wait to die, or are we going to fight back? Sam straightened up. We fight back, but we need more than just communication. We need ships that can get through the barrier and stay through it. I have been working on that too, Kate said. The Aurora's phase technology was just the beginning. I think we can build ships that exist partially outside normal space. Ships that the barrier cannot hold. Ellen nodded. And I can provide the power source for both projects. But we will need resources. A lot of them. Ben looked out at Earth again. Down there, billions of people were living their lives, most of them unaware of the death sentence hanging over their heads. Then we better get started, he said. We have a species to save. Over the next few weeks, word spread through the human colonies. Scientists, engineers, miners, and factory workers all received the same message. Humanity needed them to build the impossible. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Every human settlement in the solar system began working on the same goal. They were going to break out of their cage, contact their potential allies, and show the Council that humans were not as helpless as they thought. But first, they had to survive what they were about to attempt, because Ellen's artificial solar flare project was not just dangerous to the barrier, it was dangerous to the sun itself, and if they made even one mistake, they would do the Council's job for them. They would destroy their own solar system and everyone in it. But as Ben watched Kate and Ellen work together, planning the impossible, he felt something he had not felt since the barrier went up. Hope. 2 years after the breakthrough, Admiral Peter Grant stood on the bridge of the new flagship, watching the most amazing sight he had ever seen. Thousands of ships filled the space around Earth. Not the sleek alien designs humans used to copy, but something completely new, something that looked unmistakably human. "Admiral," came a voice behind him. Peter turned to see Colonel Linda Ross walking onto the bridge. She was now the leader of the Special Forces teams that would lead the first wave through the barrier. "Colonel Ross," Peter nodded. "Are your teams ready?" Linda smiled grimly. "As ready as anyone can be for what we are about to do. The question is, are our ships ready?" Peter looked out at the fleet again. Each ship was different, built by different colonies using different approaches. Some looked like flying cities, others like metal spears. A few looked like they should not be able to fly at all. But they all had one thing in common. They were built to fight. "Kate," Peter called to the Chief Technology Officer, who was working at a control station nearby. Kate Williams looked up from her screens. She had dark circles under her eyes from working 18-hour days for months. "Yes, Admiral?" "Tell me again how these ships are supposed to work," Peter said. Kate smiled tiredly. "Each ship uses a different approach to getting through the barrier. Some use phase technology like the Aurora. Others use quantum tunneling. A few use something we call reality shifting. Do not ask me to explain that one." "And they will all work?" Linda asked. "We think so," Kate said. "We tested smaller versions on probes. Most got through. Some did not come back." Peter felt a chill. "What happened to the ones that did not come back?" Kate shrugged. "We do not know. They just disappeared. Maybe the Council captured them. Maybe they got lost between dimensions. Space is big and dangerous." A new voice joined the conversation. "The important thing is that most of them worked." They turned to see Dr. Ben Phillips approaching. He looked as tired as Kate, but also excited. The last 2 years had been the most productive time in human history. "Ben," Peter said, "how is Ellen's project coming along?" Ben's expression became serious. "Dr. Gray says she can create the quantum disruption we need, but the power requirements are enormous. We will have to use the sun as our generator." "Is it safe?" Linda asked. "No," Ben said honestly. "There's a chance we could destabilize the sun completely. If that happens, Earth becomes uninhabitable within days." Peter felt his stomach drop. "And if we do nothing?" "We all die anyway when the Council sterilizes the system," Ben replied. "At least this way, we have a chance." A communication officer called out from across the bridge. "Admiral Grant, incoming message from Mayor Alex Turner on Mars." "Put him through," Peter ordered. The main screen lit up with the face of a middle-aged man with red dust in his hair. Mars had become the manufacturing center for the rebellion, and Alex Turner was the man who made it all happen. "Admiral Grant," Alex said, "the final shipment of weapons just left Mars. You should have everything you need now." "What did you send us?" Linda asked. Alex grinned. "Kinetic bombardment systems, plasma cannons, and something special we developed called chaos missiles. They do not explode. Instead, they hack into enemy systems and make them do random things." Peter raised an eyebrow. "Random things?" "We figured that aliens like order and predictability," Alex explained. "So we created weapons that cause chaos. Their ships might start playing human music, or their computers might start showing Earth television shows, or their weapons might fire at their own allies." Linda laughed. "That is either brilliant or insane." "Both," Alex said proudly. "That is what makes it human." The communication ended, and Peter looked around at his officers. "Any word from our allies?" Ben nodded. "The Altarians, Vegan Collective, and Crystal Mines have all confirmed they will help us when we break through. but they can only do so much without revealing their support. The Council would punish them too. So we are mostly on our own, Peter said. Just the way humans like it, Kate replied. Over the next few hours, Peter toured the fleet. He visited ships built on Europa, where the ice miners had created vessels that could freeze enemy systems solid. He saw ships from the asteroid belt that could break apart and reform like living metal. He walked through ships built by the outer colonies that moved so fast they could be in 3 places at once. Each ship was crewed by volunteers, men and women who knew they might not come home, but who refused to let their species die quietly. On the ship called Pioneer, Peter met Captain Nick Foster, the test pilot who had helped develop the new propulsion systems. "Captain Foster," Peter said, "how many ships do you think will make it through?" Nick was working on a navigation computer that looked like it was built from spare parts, which it probably was. "Honestly, Admiral, maybe half. The barrier is strong and we do not know what is waiting for us on the other side." "And the other half?" Peter asked. Nick stopped working and looked at him. "The other half will die trying. But that is better than dying waiting." Peter nodded. He understood that feeling. His next stop was the medical ship Mercy, where doctors and nurses were preparing for casualties. Dr. Lisa Stone, no relation to Commander Lisa Stone who had first breached the barrier, was in charge of the medical teams. "Dr. Stone," Peter said, "are you ready for what is coming?" Lisa looked up from the medical supplies she was organizing. "Admiral, I have been treating people injured by alien technology for years. I know how their weapons work. The question is, do our enemies know how human medicine works?" "What do you mean?" Peter asked. "Human bodies heal differently than alien bodies," Lisa explained. "We recover from injuries that would kill other species. We fight off diseases that would wipe out entire alien populations. If our people get hurt out there, they might surprise everyone with how fast they get better." Peter had never thought about that before. Humans had always seemed fragile compared to the armored aliens or energy beings in the Council, but maybe they were tougher in ways that did not show. His final stop was the command ship Freedom, where the overall battle plan was being coordinated. General Tom Bradley was there, along with dozens of other military leaders from across the solar system. "General Bradley," Peter said, "walk me through the plan one more time." Tom pointed to a massive holographic display showing the solar system and the space beyond. "Phase 1. Ellen creates the quantum disruption that weakens the barrier. We have maybe 30 minutes before the Council realizes what is happening." "Phase 2?" Peter asked. "The fleet breaks through at multiple points," Tom continued. "We do not try to fight their main forces directly. Instead, we spread out and hit their infrastructure, communication relays, supply stations, command centers." "Classic guerrilla warfare," Peter noted. "Exactly," Tom said. "We are outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Our only advantage is that they do not expect us to fight smart." "And Phase 3? Peter asked. Tom's expression became grim. "We hold on long enough for our allies to reveal themselves. If the Altarians and the others join us openly, some of the neutral species might change sides too." "And if our allies do not help?" Peter asked. Tom shrugged. "Then we make the Council's victory as expensive as possible. Maybe the next species they try to bully will learn from our example." Peter looked around at all the people preparing for war. Scientists, soldiers, engineers, doctors, and ordinary citizens who had volunteered to fight for their species' survival. "How long before we are ready?" he asked. "Ellen says she can trigger the disruption in 6 hours," Tom replied. "After that, it is up to us." Peter nodded. "Then I better address the fleet." An hour later, Peter stood in the communications center, looking into a camera that would broadcast his words to every ship in the fleet. Behind him, Earth filled the view screen, beautiful and blue and completely unaware of what was about to happen. "People of Earth," Peter began, "in 5 hours we are going to do something that has never been done before. We are going to break out of the cage the Council built for us. Some of us will not come home, but all of us will send a message that echoes across the galaxy. Humanity does not give up." He paused, looking at the faces of his bridge crew. Kate Williams, exhausted but determined. Ben Phillips, nervous but excited. Linda Ross, calm and ready for battle. "The Council thinks they know us," Peter continued. They think we are violent and chaotic and dangerous. They are right. But they missed something important. We are violent when fighting for our freedom. We are chaotic when breaking unjust rules. And we are dangerous to anyone who tries to destroy us. Peter looked directly into the camera. Today, the galaxy learns what happens when you corner humanity. Today, we show them that the species they tried to cage has become something they never imagined. He took a deep breath. Today, we stop being prisoners. Today, we become rebels. The communication ended, and Peter looked out at his fleet one more time. In a few hours, these ships would either break through the barrier and begin the greatest fight in human history, or they would all die trying. Either way, the Council was about to learn that banishing humanity had been the biggest mistake they ever made. The largest solar storm in recorded history began exactly at 1430 Earth Standard Time. Dr. Ellen Gray had calculated everything perfectly. The sun erupted with energy that made the barrier around the solar system shake like a soap bubble in a hurricane. Admiral Peter Grant watched from the Bridge of the Freedom as space itself seemed to tear apart around them. "All ships," he said into his communicator. "Operation Exodus is now active. Break through! Break through!" The first wave launched immediately. Captain Nick Foster's ship Pioneer hit the barrier at the exact moment when the quantum field was weakest. For a terrifying second, the ship seemed to stretch like rubber. Then it snapped through, disappearing into normal space beyond the barrier. "Pioneer is through," came Nick's voice over the radio. "The galaxy is still here." Behind him, hundreds of other ships followed. Some used Kate Williams' phase technology, slipping through the barrier like ghosts. Others used quantum tunneling, appearing on the far side without seeming to cross the space between. A few used methods so strange that even their own crews did not understand how they worked. Not all of them made it. Admiral Grant watched in horror as the ship Courage tried to phase through and simply vanished. The ship Hope made it halfway before the barrier snapped back and cut it in half, but for every ship that failed, 2 more succeeded. "Admiral," came a voice from the communication station. "We are getting signals from Council ships. They know we are coming." Peter looked at the tactical display. Red dots were appearing all around the solar system as Council forces moved to intercept them. There were hundreds of enemy ships, maybe thousands. "This is it," Peter said. "All ships, execute Plan Delta. Spread out and hit everything." What followed was unlike any space battle in galactic history. The Council expected humans to fight like civilized beings, with organized fleets and predictable tactics. Instead, they faced pure chaos. Captain Nick Foster took Pioneer straight to the nearest communication relay and hit it with every weapon he had. But instead of trying to destroy it, he used the chaos missiles that Mayor Alex Turner had built. Within minutes, the relay was broadcasting human music across half the galaxy. Colonel Linda Ross led her special forces in boarding actions against Council supply ships, but instead of fighting to destroy them, her teams hacked into their computer systems and changed their programming. Soon, Council ships were delivering supplies to human forces instead of their own allies. On the medical ship Mercy, Dr. Lisa Stone was treating wounded humans who healed faster than anyone expected. "Get them patched up and back to their ships," she told her nurses. "We do not have time for long recoveries." But the biggest surprise came from Kate Williams. She had been working on something secret, something she had not told anyone about. As the battle raged around them, she activated it. "Admiral," Kate said calmly, "I am about to do something that might get us all killed." Peter looked at her in alarm. "What are you talking about?" Kate smiled. "I am going to hack the barrier itself." Before Peter could stop her, Kate pressed a button on her control panel. Immediately, every screen on the bridge went wild with data. "Kate!" Peter shouted. "What are you doing?" "The barrier is not just a prison," Kate explained as she worked. "It is a computer, a massive computer that has been recording everything we do for 2 years, including how we fight." Peter felt cold. "Are you saying the Council has been learning our tactics?" "Yes," Kate said, "but I just figured out how to turn that against them." On the screens around them, Peter could see the results of Kate's hack. The barrier was not just weakening, it was changing sides. Council ships that tried to cross it were being blocked out, while human ships could pass through freely. How is this possible? Peter asked. Kate grinned. Remember what Dr. Phillips said about human brains working differently? The barrier computer cannot understand human logic. When I fed it our battle plans, it got confused and decided we were the good guys. Across the galaxy, the Council was learning what it meant to fight humans. Every time they adapted to one tactic, the humans changed to something completely different. When the Council sent fast ships, the humans sent slow ones that could not be caught. When they sent heavy weapons, the humans used stealth technology. But the real turning point came when Jake Morrison, the captain who had stood trial 2.5 years ago, appeared on every Council communication channel at once. Counselor Zethkai, Jake said, his image appearing on the bridge of the Council flagship. We need to talk. Peter watched on his screen as the reptilian alien's yellow eyes went wide with shock. Captain Morrison, how are you transmitting this? How did you escape? Jake smiled. We did not escape, Counselor. We broke out. There is a difference. Impossible, came another voice. It was Counselor Veltar, the energy being who had pronounced humanity's banishment. The barrier is impenetrable. Was impenetrable, Jake corrected. You made one mistake. You tried to cage humans. We do not like cages. On the tactical display, Peter could see Council forces retreating on all fronts. Human ships were everywhere, hitting targets that should have been impossible to reach. You are destroying galactic civilization, Zethkai accused. No, Jake replied calmly. We are changing it. You had a nice, ordered galaxy where everyone followed your rules. That is ending now. You cannot win, Veltar said. We have thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. Jake's smile got wider. Counselor, you still do not understand. We are not trying to win a war. We are trying to change the galaxy, and we are succeeding. As if to prove his point, new voices joined the communication. Peter recognized them from the intelligence reports. These were the species that had voted against Project Cleansing. The Altarian Republic stands with humanity, came a melodic voice. The Vegan Collective offers alliance to Earth, said another. The Crystal Minds choose freedom over order, came a third. Peter watched as the tactical display changed. Ships that had been marked as enemies were now marked as allies. The rebellion was growing. But Counselor Zethkai was not finished. Even if some species join you, most of the galaxy will never accept human chaos. You are probably right, Jake admitted. Some species like order too much to change. But here is the thing about humans, Counselor. We do not need everyone to agree with us. What do you mean? Veltar asked. I mean we just need enough allies to make you think twice before trying to sterilize another species, Jake said, and we need to show the galaxy that your rules can be broken. Peter looked around his bridge. Kate was still working on her computers, sending viruses into Council systems. Ben Phillips was coordinating with the allied species. Linda Ross was planning the next wave of attacks, but they all stopped what they were doing when Jake said his next words. Counselor Zethkai, Counselor Veltar, members of the Galactic Council. I am offering you a choice. The communication channel went silent. You can continue fighting us, Jake continued. In which case, we will continue doing what humans do best, causing chaos until we get what we want. Or you can sit down and negotiate a new treaty. What kind of treaty? Zethkai asked, suspiciously. The kind where humanity is treated as an equal partner in galactic civilization, Jake said. The kind where we have a say in the rules we are expected to follow. The kind where you do not get to decide which species lives or dies. Peter held his breath. This was the moment everything depended on. And if we refuse? Veltar asked. Jake's expression became serious. Then you will spend the rest of your existence dealing with human chaos. We will be in your supply lines, your communication networks, your computer systems. Every time you think you have us figured out, we will do something new. Every time you try to impose order, we will create disorder. You are threatening us, Zethkai said. No, Jake replied. I am promising you. This is what happens when you back humans into a corner. We do not surrender. We do not give up. We become a problem you cannot solve. There was a long silence. Peter could see on his tactical display that the fighting had stopped. Both sides were waiting to see what the council would decide. Finally, Veltar spoke. "The council will consider your proposal." "You have 1 hour," Jake said. "After that, we go back to causing chaos." The communication ended. Peter looked around at his crew. They had done it. They had broken out of their cage and forced the galaxy's most powerful organization to negotiate. 58 minutes later, the council called back. "Captain Morrison," Veltar said, "the council accepts your terms. We will negotiate a new treaty." Jake smiled. "I thought you might see it our way." 6 months later, Captain Jake Morrison stood in the same council chamber where he had been judged 3 years earlier. But this time, he was not a prisoner. He was Earth's ambassador, and he was here to sign the treaty that would make humanity an equal partner in galactic civilization. "The Treaty of Sol," Veltar announced, "recognizes humanity as a sovereign species with full rights and representation in the Galactic Council." Jake looked up at the screen showing the alien faces. Some still looked angry, others looked scared, but a few looked curious, even excited. "There is one more thing," Jake said as he prepared to sign the treaty. "What?" Zethkai asked suspiciously. Jake grinned. "Some of the other species want to learn how to think like humans. Apparently, creativity is contagious." Zethkai's scales turned darker. "That is what we were afraid of." "I know," Jake said as he signed his name. "That is what makes this so perfect." As Jake put down the pen, he looked out through the great windows of the council chamber. In the distance, he could see human ships flying freely through space, no longer trapped behind a barrier. The council had tried to cage humanity to protect their ordered galaxy. Instead, they had given humans time to become something the galaxy had never seen before, a species that could not be caged. And now that humanity was free, the galaxy would never be the same.